Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have this lovely 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL 500 Roadster in black. I've just recently purchased this vehicle. I'll probably have another video on that if it's not out already at some point, so kind of get more into the review. But this is the R230, which replaced the R129 SL, which was out from 1989 to 2002. So these came out for 03. This is the first year. And then they facelifted them kind of in the later 2000s, and then in the early 10s they did refresh it. So this was kind of the 2000s SL. So this is the SL 500. There was also the SL 55 AMG. There was also some V12. There were a lot of different combinations of it, but this is kind of I think there was actually a 6-cylinder in Europe as well, an SL 350. So this is kind of mid-range, or maybe even a little bit lower. But anyway, really nice vehicle in really good shape. Going down the side here, well, actually we'll start at the hood. So you'll see the air intakes here with kind of the typical SL stuff with the nice little fins and air inlets there. Nice clean front end. We have good clear headlamps. I like the big star in the grille. Everything's in good shape. No huge cracks or chips. Really nice AMG style 18-inch wheels. Look at those nice drilled rotors. Everything's nice and clean down the side. I like the LED lights in the mirror there. I like the nice satin nickel finish and the dark kind of smoked chrome. We have a nice wind deflector here that can fold down, and there's also this roll bar, which we'll get more into. This car does have a couple things that I'm still taking care of, so we'll go over those as we come to them. First is this flap. You can see on the other side there's a little piece of trim that fills that. So on this side it's broken. I will have to fix that, so I apologize. Everything's nice and clean down the sides. You have this nice little antenna here. What I really like about this car is that the back end is really low, very sleek. I like the lines on this car. I think it's really attractive. Nice twin exhaust tips. This is a true dual exhaust. Sounds great. Everything here, with the tonneau cover, other than that flap, is in really nice shape. I like how it all kind of folds into the trunk really well. Again, these wheels are in really good shape down this side as well. I think this car looks good in black too, so pretty nice. One thing I've always loved about the SLs is that the hood is just crazy. It's crazy how long it is. You can see the Impala in the background there, which is kind of a big car, but the hood on this is just so much longer. When you sit in the driver's seat, I don't know if you can really see this on camera. Let me back up. But you're really sitting kind of, in the middle of the car at furthest forward. You're kind of driving it from the back. So it's just a really different feeling to be that far back and have so much car in front of you. It would have been really cool if they would have put a hood ornament on this. It would have been quite the driving experience. All right, next I'm going to go cycle the top. We can take a look at what it looks like with that up. So let me grab the key here. Okay, and I'll actually put this little wind deflector down. So here's the key. This is a typical Mercedes stuff, lock, unlock, and then there's also the trunk release. Oh, before I do that, let's take a look in the trunk here. So this pops open nicely. Okay, so first off, take a look at this trunk lid. I mean, it's huge. It kind of covers the whole back of the car there. So with the roof down, you can see that there's kind of a decent sized trunk, but it's hard to get to. And notice all the mechanisms here for the folding of the roof. Look at all the detail in the hinge. I mean, this is where all the money went in this car as far as I'm concerned, or a lot of it anyways. All right, you press this little red button and the roof will actually come up, and then you can move this tonneau cover back, and then you do actually have decent storage area back here. Below this, there's a battery on this side. On this side, you have the pump for the roof and the air pump that controls the locks, lumbar, etc. Have these nice little tie-down racks, luggage compartments there. So a decent-sized trunk, actually. All right, and then this just clips in. Okay, make sure it's clipped on both sides, and then we can press this button. And there goes that. To cycle the top, we'll just put the key in, turn it to the on position, and then you just fold up this little piece here and then pull it back, but we'll film this as it goes. So with that pulled back, oops, sorry, you have to press down, I'm still getting used to this. So the trunk comes up, and then the tonneau cover flips up, and then here comes the roof, and then that meets the header there, and then you have the flaps that fold in, the windows are coming up, and then there goes the trunk. All right, it's all locked in, and then it does say hard top closed. All right, so this car does have a panoramic roof, so it's just this glass panel, and then you can open that up. So we'll take a look here from the outside, but you can see it does have a nice spacious cabin even with the roof closed, so we can put the seat down and forward. This is all powered. You just press this and then it goes forward here, but you can see nice room all around. Everything's nice and bright. Go ahead and put that back. All right, there go the windows. All right, we'll have a look at it here with the top up. So everything's really nicely integrated. You can tell that, you know, there's the seam here, and then everything kind of splits and folds, but still has a nice sleek design with the roof up. It's in pretty good shape all around. All the glass is in good shape. These panels on either side of the glass, they do have a tendency to kind of delaminate. I've had both of these repainted already, so those are in good shape. Okay, and we'll take a look at the trunk here again. All right, and then you can kind of see with that divider up, you do have a pretty decently big area there, so kind of cool. And then the gas tank is actually behind this carpet, so it's kind of low, and I think that's also kind of why that fuel filler cap is so far forward, and also it's so high on the vehicle. Okay, with that closed, we'll go ahead and put the top back down again. So again, the key's still in the ignition, and then you would actually pull back. So to put it down, you would press down basically from this point, but to put it back, we have this. All right. So the header is unlocking, and then the trunk is opening up. There go the flaps. Very cool. Okay, and then to run the windows down, you can just press these switches here, and everything goes down. All right, we'll turn the key back off for now. All right, let's take a look under the hood. So again, this is a 5-liter V8, typical Mercedes stuff of the era. About 300 horsepower, 339 pound-feet of torque. So everything's in decent shape here. It's been detailed pretty nicely. No huge leaks. It's not leaving any puddles on the ground. Everything sounds really nice, works really well. A couple things to note. This is the reservoir for the ABC system, or the active body control. We'll talk about that more when we get inside. And then also you can see here, this says SBC, Sensotronic Brake Control. Basically, in newer cars, kind of the accelerator pedal isn't a linkage to the throttle, it goes through a computer, so it's just sensors and things. The SBC is kind of like that, but for brakes. It has its own separate battery, and own different module, controls the brakes totally by wire. So any Mercedes product that's kind of higher end, like this car was when it came out, they're always going to have new kind of crazy ideas. Some of them work, some of them aren't so great. I don't think they do Sensotronic stuff anymore with the brakes. I think it freaked people out. It does brake in a very different way, nicer in some ways, really weird in others. So I think that has gone down as a flop, but nonetheless, there it is. You'll notice that we do have like a heated windshield here at the base. That's what those brass wires are for. And this does have the eccentric wiper arm, full automatic wipers. And this hood does go up into service mode. I can't really do it right now with, well, maybe I can. Let's see if we can. You just press in this clip right down here, and then the hood opens quite a bit more vertical. And there you go. Very different look for the car. I think that's one of the greatest Mercedes features. All right, let me see if I can get this down. Okay. Here we we go. All right, there it is. All right, next we'll have a look at the interior. So again, you have this wind deflector here, which can fold up and down manually. This right here, this compartment, you have your CD changer. On the other side, there is just a little storage compartment. I'll actually go around to that. And then below this is one of the fuse panels, but just the instructions in there. We'll look at the passenger side here first, I guess. So a simple door panel on this side. These SLs have a nice little storage compartment here. I'm not sure exactly what you could put in there, but it is, it is pretty deep. Again, all this is leather. This might be vinyl on the top, but the rest of it's leather. You have nice satin nickel trim. The wood trim is beautiful. Good quality Mercedes stuff here as far as this metal on the doors. That's a nice Mercedes touch. Bose audio here. You have heated seats. I believe these also came with ventilated seats. This car doesn't have that though. Multi-position power seats here. See this little ring around the outside? They are in fact lighted. Then you have your settings for all the memory. But basically, I mean, this does all your typical position adjustment there. But the one, I think the coolest thing is this one here, which will actually extend the bottom cushion out. I think that's really neat. And then lumbar is down here. That's vacuum controlled. Have nice little storage compartments there. These are, a little flimsy, but they work. Little thing there. The glove box here, it's a little bit difficult to open one hand. It doesn't seem to want to come down right now. I might need to look into that. There it is. Okay, so kind of small. I think that's why they just have some insurance papers and stuff there, but I think that's why they have that compartment in the back for the owner's manual. I don't think it'll actually fit in here. There is an auxiliary port there for the audio, and you have this little vent you can open to control whether or not you have air conditioning going into the glove box. The carpets in this car are just in great shape. These are original. They just look great. All right, let me demonstrate this again here. So if you press this button, the seat will move forward as much as it possibly can. There you go. And you do have some decent room here. And then these buckles, I haven't messed with these too much, but basically these, here, I'll move the camera. It's slippery right now. Everything's been detailed. Here, let me see if I can grab it. There we go. Okay, so you have these little buckles here that pull out. So you kind of have to grab it by the belt up here at the top. And then these will come down and actually buckle into this. So it's like a seat belt, but for stuff. So kind of interesting. We'll press that, put that away. And just, this is all, it's all metal. There's a magnet there on the back. Everything looks really good. Seems to be of decent quality. I'll go ahead and put this back. These headrests do have a little tilt function to them. This leather is all in really nice shape. None of this, the seams or anything are ripped up or torn. It's not all dried out and cracked. Everything's nice and soft and supple. Very good. Okay. Going around to the driver's side, the same thing here for the door panel, except there's two window switches on this side. Still, you have this nice compartment, nice wood trim, nice door handle. Everything feels nice. Usual Mercedes controls here. You have your light controls, automatic, on, your parking lamps. This button right here will wash the headlamps. You have your Mercedes stalks here. Again, you have glare, I apologize, but forward for high beams, back just to flash them. You can turn your wipers to automatic, low and high. Typical Mercedes cruise control. Tilt and telescope is controlled here. On this side, you have voice control. If you press this right here, it will actually like tune the radio and do a couple other things. This car, the tech is kind of old. I don't think it, I don't think that does too terribly much anymore. So this is kind of interesting. So they actually have a digital clock here, and then there's no speakers on the dash, but it all appears to be wrapped in leather or else some very, very nice vinyl. I think I'm going to move. The sun is a little bit making this a little bit difficult to film. So I've moved around here a little bit, so it should be a little better. We'll start up here at the header. So you have visors here. When you open this cover, the light comes on. So kind of small, but they work. Kind of a wide header here. Nice lamps that come on. These actually control the lights in the mirror. This one here, you just press that one there, and the lights come on kind of slow. Nice Mercedes stuff. You have your little pop down here for the SOS, and then the button up inside. Nice self-dimming mirror with home link controls in the bottom. Same mirror situation over on this side. This gauge cluster is a little bit interesting, how it kind of sticks up from the dash, kind of different there. You do have the temperature gauge on the left, speedometer on the left there as well, tachometer, and the fuel gauge there on the right, and nice readout there for everything. We'll turn it on then later. All right, so analog or digital clock right up here on the dash. You have your lock and unlock controls. These are vacuum actuated, so when you press the button, it's very, very quiet. I think that's all electronic now, but they've kind of, they've made it a little nicer. You have all your adjustments here for the dampers. So this one here, for example, controls airflow to this vent. Same for this one here. It's you don't have to reach over. You don't have to reach the whole way over to get that. Otherwise, nice adjustments here, pretty decent to use. These do get a little peely with age, but I'm sure that can be cleaned up. These aren't too terribly bad. You have the nice satin nickel finish. I really like that as opposed to the chrome. A lot of that plastic chrome ends up kind of like cracking and peeling and stuff. On the steering wheel, nice Mercedes star, typical controls. I guess we will turn this on and start it up. Very nice. All right, so these controls will kind of direct you through whatever mode that you're in. So, and then if you go to this one, it'll kind of go to different parameters here. So let's say we go to this one, then you can cycle through with the up and down arrows. Average speed 9 miles per hour. Average, 10.8 miles per gallon. 3.8. Huh. I don't know what that's from because I don't drive like that, but there it is. Okay. All right, we can cycle back to, you can get navigation up on here, also your audio information. We'll leave it there. 79,000 some miles on this car, so not terribly bad, not super low, but not super high. Okay, in the climate, or not climate control, well, we'll do the climate control first. So this is automatic, so you just you can turn this here to bring it on. You can change the fan speed and the temperature here, and then you can also pick where the air comes out, or you can just press it in for automatic. You can press this in for automatic for the fan. I kind of like to be able to control the fan myself, and then we just set the temperature, and then it can pick where the air comes out. Everything here feels really nice. It's not too chintzy. It's not something that's going to kind of be difficult to adjust at speed. Front and rear defrost, recirculation, AC off, that'll defeat the compressor. This button here is kind of cool. If you turn the car off and press rest, it will continue circulating air through the cabin for about 20 minutes just with residual heat or AC. It seems to work pretty well. If you're running into a shop or something, it'll kind of keep the car from getting too terribly hot, which is kind of nice with a black interior and black exterior. Things do get a little warm. You have your little ashtray down here. Okay, this is the head unit. First thing is integrated into it, they have these little cup holders, something that seems like it will surely break, but anyway, those kind of fold out. They're a little bit in the way. I probably wouldn't ever use those, but they're there. So the nice thing is I don't really do a lot of eating or drinking in cars, so I actually kind of like it because then they're not in the way. It doesn't take up a bunch of space in the console. You do have a single slot here for a CD, or possibly that's navigation. I could be wrong. I don't really use CDs in this, and I don't use navigation anymore either for obvious reasons. But you can go through for the telephone. You could use this knob here to adjust. This is, I think, one of their first head units, so definitely not the best by today's standard. But you can cycle through. This is not a touch screen. Navigation, you have to have the CD. Otherwise, you have AM and FM, CD, and then service, so you can change different settings in there, which is there's not too many. Then there's this blank over here. I don't know if that was for XM or something else. Who knows? You can key in your radio station here, for example. So just press like star, and then that will come up. That was not exactly tuned in, but good, powerful audio, nice bass. Sounds good. I mean, you can definitely be going down the highway and hear what you're listening to. This will change the display between like a daytime and evening mode, and then off. This is mute. Info, I'm not really sure what that does. Some other buttons here, Z plus, Z minus, different things. You do have this nice back button to go back. This is your button to, to seek and scan. Anyway, I do have weather band, so if you go down to that, you can...
Once again, in Harrisburg it was 71 degrees under sunny skies, and at York.
The first car that I was in that had something like that was Saab, and I thought that was just a Saab thing, but is it a Saab thing and also a Mercedes thing, or is it a European car thing? I don't know. You tell me. All right, going back up until 2000, and I believe it was 2005, and 2006 was the first year, all these cars came with a 5-speed automatic. So you can bring that back to here and then shift it manually. You can see it'll go through on the left side of the gauge there. It'll go up through, and let's say you're in second. If you just press and hold over to the right, it will go back up to drive, and if you press and hold to the left, it'll go to the lowest possible gear. So otherwise you can just tap it, which is kind of nice. I mean, this car should definitely be an automatic. That's what it should have, but it is nice to be able to change gears if you need to. The parking brake is over here. Just press down, and then there's your release. Nice pedals in this car, and again, just look at this floor mat. I mean, there's a little bit of dirt on it right now, but it's just in really nice shape. All right, and then the 5 speeds also had the winter and sport or standard setting. So if you change that, it'll change there in the display. You can actually hear a solenoid click under the hood. In winter mode, it would start off in second gear for a little less torque and a little bit smoother ride. So there's some blanks here. This is ESP, so your traction control basically. You press that, it will turn off. We'll turn that back on. Okay, and then there it is. Okay, then here's your mirror adjustment, and then this will turn off the alarm, like if it's being jacked up or towed, it'll turn that off. So you want to defeat that if you're doing service on it or need to have it towed. Okay, next, you'll see the ABC Sport button here, and also this button here to raise the car. So this is where this car becomes a little bit modified. These cars originally came with what was called ABC suspension, which was, it would basically kind of adjust the car. It would raise and lower the ride height. It would change the height of the front and the back to kind of counteract any weird angle that the car was on, try to keep it level and everything. It used hydraulic fluid, and when the parts would go bad, they were expensive, and also it was kind of a mess. And the thing is, you don't necessarily need to have an adaptive suspension for a nice soft ride. It won't change. It'll be either soft or it'll be sporty. So in this car, that's all been deleted. This car does have standard struts and shocks, or I guess just struts. So it has a nice ride, which we'll talk about more later. I don't really have a problem with it. I think it rides really, really nice. But anyway, that's all been deleted. There's no warning lights on the dash, but you do have these lights constantly on, which I think is fine. That's the way I'd want it. I think that's kind of what sold me on this, is that was done. I don't know that I don't have to deal with it. All right, with the console here, there's 2 levers. The one on the top brings up the shallow tray, and then if you close that, the one on the bottom opens this deeper tray. There's a light in there that's air conditioned. Very cool. I think that's about it on the interior. Everything's just you do have the trunk release over here. That's kind of small. Everything is in really nice shape. Everything's really clean. It looks great. Very, very nice. The wood is all in great shape. It's just a really nice place to be. I know it's kind of a smaller car, but you have so much room. Everything's comfortable. Everything that you touch feels of quality. It's very, very nice. All right, let me get this car turned around and we'll take it out on the road. So first things first, just leaving the neighborhood here. The first thing I notice is, when you sit this far back in the car, in this wonderfully comfortable seat with all the space around you, and you see the little fins and the intake there right in front of you, everything just feels really nice. I mean, you do feel special in a car like this. That's kind of goal number one. You've spent a lot of money. Even if it's used, it should be something that you can enjoy, and it definitely does feel like that from the moment you get in it. It feels special. Also, the exhaust is, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it does sound really nice. I mean, it's not super loud, but it's enough to let you know that it's there. It's not obnoxious. I think they really nailed it. I think it sounds great. One thing to be addressed right off the bat, the R230 I think is not going to go down as one of the greatest Mercedes ever. These cars, a lot of people say they don't have the same quality that a Mercedes should. They kind of let the brand down. There were a lot of stupid stuff on it that broke, like the ABC and the Sensotronic, and I kind of get that. But, the thing is, Okay, so it's mediocre. I mean, here's the thing. It's a $100,000 mediocre car. How bad can it be? It might have been a disaster new. In 2003, I was 5. I don't recall, you know, I don't remember. I remember seeing these on the road, and I remember them being really popular, but I don't know exactly, you know, what everything was like at that time. I've only driven a select number of kind of like high-end cars like this. But what I can say is this, as a used car, what a great bargain. I mean, everything feels great. You feel, like I said, you feel so special and important. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I'm not going to argue with the majority of people that think it's not the best. I get that. But I would say it's not that bad. It's not terrible. It's not a disaster. It doesn't feel like garbage. You know, this is no worse in build quality, in my opinion, than a W210 or W211, like E-Class. It's very nice. The ride is very good. You don't feel all the bumps in the road. Everything's pretty much under control. Like I said, the exhaust feels great. I think about the worst part of the driving experience is the brakes. I mean, the Sensotronic brakes, they're a little bit touchy, and they're not very linear. So when you press the pedal in a normal car, you can kind of, like if you've driven the car and you're used to it, you can kind of know exactly how hard to press the pedal to make it stop when you need it to stop. And that's really not the case with this. It's kind of weird. Other than that, it actually does pretty good. When you come to a stop, you know how some cars will kind of like nosedive? They'll go down in the front, up in the back, and then once you actually come to a complete stop, they'll, you know, kind of bounce back to level. This car really doesn't do that. It'll also pulse the brakes when it's wet so that they're dry when you go to press them. And if you come off the accelerator pedal really, really fast, it'll kind of have the brakes pre-charged. And this would also work with their like first gen pre-safe system where it would automatically apply the brakes for you, although this car is an option like that. So other than missing the linearness of it, it actually does pretty good. I mean, it feels decent. There's, you know, it's a little weird to know that you have batteries controlling the brakes. There's really not a lot of security in that, but it hasn't really messed up for me that much. Here. It does a pretty decent job. Other than that, the cabin, I mean, everything is pretty nice with, you know, wind control with the convertible top. I have the little windscreen up behind me, and I have the windows up, and, you know, there's really no wind noise or wind intrusion. I've driven this car at 60 or 70 miles an hour, and you can still have the radio on and hear everything perfectly. The stereo is great. Maybe you can even tell that on camera. It's not super loud, but it's really nice. I actually have the air conditioning on right now, and the cabin is actually air conditioned even though the roof is off, so that's kind of cool. And again, you know, the windows are up and the air screen is up there, but you know, very neat stuff. This is also pretty safe as well. You have airbags all around, and I didn't show it, but there's a roll bar that comes up, and that's what those two little buttons are for under the switch for the convertible top. So in the case of a crash, that would pop up and you'd be very safe. This windshield header is also very safe, I'm sure, and would support the weight of the car. But again, everything's quiet. Steering is nice. Braking is, like we talked about. Handling is pretty nice as well. It's not. It's more of a cruiser. It's not the best in corners like this. There's definitely other cars with stiffer suspensions, but you know, the SL, I don't think is one of the greatest cars ever. I think at one time it was a very great car, but I think now, even in Mercedes lineup, you know, it's kind of right in the middle now, and that's fine. But I can say this, as far as I'm concerned, I'll take a nice soft ride with some decent power and good materials any day over a hard ride. There's no right or wrong. That's just kind of what I'm about. But I can say this definitely does have a nice, comfortable ride. This is traditional Mercedes stuff to me. I think this conversion is a great idea. If I had an SL that had ABC, I would probably drive it till it breaks and then do the conversion, because frankly, it just rides really nice. I think it's great. I think that's a good addition to the car, knowing that you're not going to have that kind of maintenance going forward. The engine has plenty of power, everything sounds nice, the transmission shifts smoothly. The 5-speed, I mean, if you're used to a 7-speed, it's not quite as smooth, but I think it's a little bit more crisp, and it's never in the wrong gear. You know, the 7-speeds, I don't think they're that bad in sport mode. The newer ones are really nice, but I don't think they're that bad. But this definitely pairs well with this engine. I don't think it feels old-fashioned or old-timey, and the fuel economy is pretty good. That's, you know, no issue in my opinion. See there with the brakes, I had to hit it kind of like 30% of the way down, and then like another 20%, and then another 20%. It's just not very linear. It just doesn't encourage you to drive super fast because you just don't know how quickly you're going to stop. Frankly, with how nice it drives and how nice everything is, how nice everything feels, how nice everything steers, the nice power, it's kind of a little boring because you're tempted to just, you know, slow down a little bit and enjoy everything because it's so nice. It's definitely very comfortable. It's a car that you can definitely enjoy and drive fast, but it's kind of not the point. Not so much with this engine, I don't think. I think this is more of a cruiser, and it definitely, you know, definitely fits that. I think this is a great car to drive on Sunday afternoons or, you know, on an evening. But you could definitely drive it the rest of the week as well. Might not be great in winter with those tires. I think the winter mode is more of a comfort mode than actual winter. I don't think that a car like this, especially in this condition, really deserves to be put out in the snow. But you know, you could. They're old enough that they're at the bottom of their depreciation curve. You could, I guess, if you wanted. Now, right now for me, this car serves as more of like a weekend car, just for special occasions, and I haven't driven it that much. I've been working on it. There will be a different video about all that. I'm not going to bore you with that during this, but I've driven it with the hardtop on, and I have to say it's very nice. Really no squeaks or rattles. It's not that much quieter than a modern soft top, but I'm sure at the time it was very quiet. It's quite a bit quieter than like the Saab 9.3 that I have, or something kind of like that isn't insulated as well. But there's you know, it's really nice to have a hard top. I don't think it's the be-all end-all. I love soft tops. I think they're great, but it really suits this car. It's just it does feel a little bit more premium and of higher quality than most. So I think that's kind of cool as well. So as you can see, it does have pretty decent power, good acceleration, definitely feels nice, sounds nice. I think this pairing of engine and transmission is really well also. And then when you're done messing around, you can turn the stereo on and roll the windows up and just enjoy a nice, peaceful, quiet ride. And then it's nice to know that if it starts to rain, you can always just, in just about 15 seconds, have the top back up, turn the automatic wipers on, and you get to ride in comfort. It's pretty nice in that regard. Alright, so it's time to wrap this up. So in summary, the Sensotronic brakes aren't a deal breaker, but you know, give them a try, see what you think. As far as the ABC suspension conversion, I think that's a win. You do miss, like I said, you do miss a little bit of the adaptiveness of, well, all the adaptiveness of it, I guess, but I think that's a good compromise. If you were looking to buy one of these, you know, see what you think of those, and also try to look for good service records for the convertible top, make sure all that works, or if not, that you know what's going on with it. Check for leaks in the trunk. You know, make sure that it's kind of been maintained well and that it hasn't been left go. A car like this is kind of one of the nicer ones. I mean, everything works, everything's been serviced and is in really nice shape. It's not going to be the easiest thing to get parts for. It's not necessarily going to be the most easy to service either, although it's far from terrible. But anyway, you know, not the most interesting. There's definitely cars out there with a lot more power, much more modern tech. That's no surprise. But the thing is that for a 20-year-old car, I mean, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find something that is a nicer Sunday driver than this. It is just absolutely buttery smooth, impressively comfortable, ridiculously nice to drive. You definitely feel special. It does not feel like an old car. It still does the job pretty well. I think it's just wonderful in that regard. And lastly, I know we've been reviewing this car today with the you know, with the top down, and it's a beautiful summer day, or fall almost, but you know, it's a beautiful, lovely day out, about 70-some degrees. But the thing is this, even if with the top up, everything's still nice and quiet, it's still just as luxurious. You have that nice panoramic roof with the sunshade you can close if you want. This car has one of the best Mercedes air conditioners that I think I've ever been in, it gets nice and cold. It gets ice cold, and it works fast with nice climate control. And you do have those heated seats, so you can enjoy the fall with the nice, with the heated seats and the nice wind deflector. So you can definitely get some time out of this more than just summertime, which is also a plus. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think below as far as the conversion and all that, because I know it is a little different. We've lost the purists, but anyway. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you with the next one. Oh, one last thing. I forgot I wanted to put this in. I've also driven R129s, and I know what they're about a little bit. And my opinion on those they are really nice cars. They feel really good. There's a lot of quality with those. They're probably, possibly the best SL of all time, at least the modern era. And I think that in many ways, there's a lot of things about those that are better than these cars, but some considerations to keep in mind. The roof, the convertible roof type, all the controls with that were a little bit finicky, so if you do buy one, again, look for good service records on that and make sure that's all been taken care of. Also, don't forget that car's quite a bit older. It came out in 1989 in Europe and then 1990 in the US, so I mean, that's a good bit behind. It's not like 4 or 5 years behind, that's 10 or more years, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Also, you're not going to have nearly as much power, but again, still a really nice vehicle. Those are great. Oh, and the roof isn't quite as insulated as well, of course, being a soft top. It's a little bit different there, but I'll tell you what, that vehicle does feel solid. It feels chunky. It feels like it's going to last forever. The engines are really good. They're a solid, phenomenal vehicle as well. So this is a little bit more modern, but at the cost of a little bit of quality. But again, it's not disastrous. This is not a disaster of a car, especially one that's in pretty good shape. If you get one that's torn, I think it would be a little bit difficult keeping it up. But again, one that's in good shape versus, an R230 versus a 129, I think it's kind of similar. Not as bad as other people say, I don't think.